Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about a little something that's been on my mind for quite some time, and it's about the whole passport bro kind of thing. Now, if you guys don't know yet, I'm an immigrant. I come from Iran, and I'm currently living in Canada, and I've been here for about a year and a few months so far. And there's this idea out here that there are countries out there that if you like have your finances in order, you got a decent job, you can just go off to those countries and find yourself a traditional woman who will very kindly become your wife and will do like so many wifely things for you, will cook for you, will be submissive to you, will listen to you, and do all that stuff. But there are a few things here that I want to talk about, and I want to give you guys my own perspective because I am an immigrant and there are people around me who have tried to take that route for themselves. Like people who have come from Iran, they came here, they established themselves a little bit better, and they tried to get themselves an Iranian wife. And they would go back to Iran, get themselves that wife, like marry her, go through the whole legal process, then come back here and begin their visa application process in order to like get them over here as well. So there are quite a few stories here. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. And first off, let me give my opinions on how this thing is represented online. So the way that it's being shown online is that a bunch of these like red pill gurus and a lot of these like different guys, the way that they're trying to advertise the whole passport bro kind of thing, they go off to these countries, they basically pay a bunch of girls to hang around them, party with them for a little while, and some of these girls are actually ex workers, if you know what I mean. So they hire these women, they hang around them, and they're like trying to advertise this thing as like, yeah, these girls are so pretty, look how fine they are, look how beautiful they are, they're so feminine, they're so submissive, and all that stuff. That's how they try to portray those women, even though those women are just really women that they paid for, right? And they try to say that these women are like perfect out here, they're so feminine, and what they're trying to sell to you is not necessarily a woman who can become a good wife. They're trying to sell you this idea that you can be with fine women for the amount of time that you're going to be staying in that country. What they're trying to sell to you is not necessarily a future with a woman, but a very good night with a woman, if you know what I'm trying to say, right? So the way that they're advertising it, the way that they talk about it, is just very wrong. There are obviously matchmaking services in whatever country that you try to go to. There's definitely like services that will help you find yourself a decent woman, get to know them, and to like maybe have them as a wife for your future. Maybe like talk to them, come to certain agreements with them. There's definitely going to be like uh, cultural gaps here and there. There's definitely going to be like huge differences between you guys, but maybe you can figure them out, maybe you can work them out, or maybe not, who knows. But there are definitely those matchmaking services in almost every country that you go to. Now, here is my perspective and what all the stories that I've been hearing. Let me give you an idea of what stories I've heard so far. So far there have been many stories of guys who go back, they find themselves a wife, they bring that wife over here to their like Western lifestyle, to their like Western established life. And after the woman gets her PR, her permanent residence, or her citizenship, or a green card, or passport, or whatever it is, after they figure all that stuff out, they leave, right? They will leave. They'll leave for another guy. They'll leave for a guy who's better looking, richer, whatever it is. They just won't stay with you. There's a lot of that happening around these parts. There's a lot of stories like that. And I'm actually going to tell you a horror story that I've heard, the worst story of them all. So, a few years back, when I was back in high school, I had this classmate of mine. He had an uncle who was living in England. I mean, used to live in England. So the guy, he was either in oil or steel. I don't remember what it was, but he was making money. He was making bank. He was making a whole lot of money. So he immigrated to England. He worked there for a few years and made a whole lot of money, bought himself a nice house, and came back to Iran to find himself a wife. He did. He got married. He had 2 kids with that woman. He impregnated her, had 2 kids with her, and was like going back and forth from England to Iran every now and then. And he was trying to like go through the whole process of getting her to like get a visa in order to come to England and start living there with him. And he did have a big house for himself. He did have a nice car too. So basically, after a couple of years, so he had twins, right? He had 2 sons. After a couple of years, he would bring that. He would finally get everything done, get the visa for that woman, would bring her to his new house in England. They'd start living there for just a few months until everything got sorted out for her, and then she immediately filed for divorce. After 2 months of living together in England, she threw away a 2-year marriage with 2 children. And because there was no, like back then apparently, there were no like specific legal processes for marriages that have happened like outside of England. And so the way that it was that the woman basically asked for alimony, and she wanted to get half of the man's like possessions, properties, whatever it was. So she got the house. And she did not want custody over the children at all. She did not try for it. She did not appeal for it. She did not care. So basically, she threw the kids out, and the father, her husband, she threw them out, kept the house. So the guy was pretty much homeless with 2 children, right? So he had to come back to Iran to figure stuff out. After a little while, he had some friends over there in England. He asked them to look her up. And what they found out was that there's this new guy who's living with her now in the house that the first guy, my classmate's uncle, had bought. So a new guy is now living in that house, which he bought with his own with his own money, and is living very comfortably and happily with his ex-wife. Man, when I heard that story, it was just so horrible. I could never imagine a woman doing that thing to me. And not just to me, to the kids as well, because it takes a very, very unique level of cruelty and just an evil heart to be able to do that kind of thing. So that was one horrible story, and I'm pretty sure there are quite a lot of stories like that where men have been cheated, men have been hurt, men have been damaged because a woman just wanted to secure herself in a new country. And yeah, there's apparently a whole lot of studies on this. There are like stats out there. Apparently like thousands of men get grifted and get robbed out there because they wanted to like be with a foreign woman and stuff like that. And it's just no. This whole like passport bros thing, it's really an ad for X tourism, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying the S at first. This whole thing is just really messed up. It's really messed up. The way that they're trying to advertise it, it's not right. what they're trying to sell to you is not necessarily a partner, a lifelong girlfriend, or a wife. It's just not that. You know what's really going on out there. To be honest, it really just depends on your own goals. It depends on what you want to do. But you got to do your research. You can't just go out there and meet someone and just be like, okay, now become my wife and we'll live the rest of our lives happily together. No. Marriage is a very important decision in your life. You need to do your research. You need to take the right steps, and you can't just rush it, you know? Just because a woman is pretty, she might seem feminine, she might seem like submissive or whatever it is. You got to get to know them first. You have to like understand who they are before you bring them into your life. And it's not just for women who are from like other countries, it's for women within your region, within your own like proximity as well. A relationship, marriage, and all that stuff, it takes time to develop. You need to do your research. You need to do whatever is necessary for you to like make that final decision. And just remember, this whole passport bros thing, it's not really what it is. What the problems that they have over there in those countries are pretty much the same as here. Like, social media has definitely increased women's standards everywhere in the world, not necessarily just the West. And yeah, you just gotta be able to like, you gotta figure it out on your own. The best dating advice that I've ever heard in my life, and I'll constantly repeat this, is do not take dating advice from anyone else. This is something you need to figure out all on your own. Do your research, do your work, whatever it is that you need to do in order to make the safest, best decision that you can make in terms of your relationships and your marriage. Do your work, man. That's all I'll say. And don't ask for any advice on anyone else. Do your research, do your work, do what needs to be done, and then make that final decision. And I wish you the best of luck. This passport bros thing, it can work. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it's very risky. And it definitely requires a lot of time and a lot of research for you to be able to like get something good out of it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this whole passport bros thing. Am I gonna do it? I don't think so. And I can be convinced, but like I said, even if I were to do it, I'd have my due diligence. I would do my research. I would take the right steps, and I would try to do it as safely as possible. I would do my research again and be able to like make the best decision that there is for me. All right, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit. I gotta finish this quick. So thanks for watching this one. Remember to like and subscribe and share the video if you like. So yeah, see you around.